Welcome back. I'm Barry Craig. My guest today is Samuel Hawkins, a slam poet from Paducah. Welcome to the program.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
Define a slam poet first and then give us an example of slam poetry.
Okay. A slam poet. Well, it started in the late '90s in the New York area, and they would take dead poets' poems and they would basically slam it in a sense, and slam it is like an over the top performance, and then it morphed into a whole different thing where people would write their own almost over the top performance and just really put in every emotion behind it and just give it energy. And
is it all oral?
Yes. I mean, for a long time it was a big stigma because slam. I mean, be some magnificent slam poets writing. I mean, tear plucking your violin strings type things, and they would just people put this stigma on it that it couldn't be read. But I mean, it can be read too, but most of it is not the same if you don't. I'm glad you asked me to do something because it's not the same unless you get to hear it and get to hear the person perform it, because there's a lot of phonetics that you put on the words in different accents, and I mean, you have a lot of fun with it. So it's not the same if you don't hear it as well.
Well, why don't you do one, and then we'll analyze it. We'll do some more and analyze them as they go along. So you choose whichever one you want, and we'll go from there. The floor is yours.
All right, man. That's always, I just got to go with the little bit about myself. That's always the one if I got to choose. I like cannolis, deep dish pizza, Philly cheesesteaks, and let's not forget the chicken and waffles. What can I say? I'm a fan of foods found in specific geographic locations. It makes me feel at home even when I'm not at home. When I'm at home during morning meditations like a newborn's lungs embracing oxygen for the first time, I twist open my blinds and breathe in sunlight like it's the word of God. It helps me hear my heart speak whispers of wisdom I didn't know I knew. In fact, I don't. Like most Christians and good people I know, I need SA. My name is Samuel Hawkins and I'm addicted to hypocrisy. Well, let's just say I have trouble reciprocating the words I facilitate, but it illustrates the struggles we all strive to overcome. And being young is no excuse. If you know truth, the gentlest summer rain will feel like a hurricane if you build the four walls of faith within your heart without a roof. And I've been there. Whole truth, I still loiter, but I'm learning to listen. The love of a father is in my corner, so I know nothing is impossible. Like Philippians 4:13 and like John 3:16, my dad taught me the true meaning of sacrifice. No wonder my favorite color is red. Red like stoplights in the hearts of hope, lost on the corner of not again and another bad breakup. See, I can't stop loving her, my ex. And it sounds pathetic, but my grandmother said, it's a blessing to love those that don't love you back, but I don't think that's what she had in mind. See, her wisdom is like a Rubik's Cube, except all of the sides are the same color. If I simply take a step back and quit trying to figure it out, I will begin to understand. That's the advice she gave me for when I read the Bible. That's the advice I give my kids when I teach them poetry. When I teach them poetry, they ask, Mr. Hawkins, how you remember all this poem rap stuff in your head? And I respond, discipline, dedication, and more practice, and more practice, and more practice. Eat, sleep, and more practice, and more. But within the Gospels of instant gratification, it says nothing about waiting. So, of course, these adolescent ears don't hear me or believe me. And I'm crazy. So I say, you got me, kids. I love lying to children. And if I love lying to children, I would tell them you are nothing. And there is nothing you can do to make a difference. There is nothing different or unique about you. Since we know this is untrue, let me share a truth with you tonight. Every time I step behind the mic, every time I open my mouth, I never stop, I'm sweating, getting nervous. Well, let's just say I'm getting better at lying, or maybe I'm just getting better at trying. Let's never get tired of trying. Let's stop planting our quarters beneath gardens. Lotto ticket wishing money will begin to grow on trees, because if money grew on trees, what will we actually do except for what we love? Because they say a job isn't a job unless you're miserable. If that's the case, I hope I hate reciting poetry and helping young children for the rest of my life. And for the rest of my life, for better or worse, I may be single. But as you can see, I'm sitting in a chair you can't see right now, but if I was standing up, you would see I'm a lot short and a little awkward. My first date conversations are always awful, like Christmas carols before autumn. Critics call me rough around the edges, but the fans think I'm awesome. Which matters most? Neither. What do I think? I would tell you, but I'm not good with answers. Much better with questions, like a Jeopardy all-star. For example, a father figure to most dads, like his life was a class teaching men how to raise men. The question to this answer is, who is my father? A question I never had to ask because he was always there. Like awkward silence within a poem you haven't fully memorized yet. But life is not about perfection. Perseverance. So like your black grandmother's will in the 1960s, keep going. Never stop. You don't have to fret or guess. And even if the answer or the question or whatever comes from Alex Trebek and he says yes, buzz in and answer every time. Am I good enough? Am I beautiful? Can I catch the stars and give wishes to starving children? You were never unequipped. Our frailty frames the picture depicting our power. Because we can die, we must fight to live. So this is for the life in your veins. This is for the pains that gave you power. This is just a little bit about myself. I hope that you can relate. Thanks.
That's terrific. Now let's
Yeah.
go back, if we
Yeah.
can, piece
Oh, yeah.
by piece and analyze that. You begin with food.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, nickname Snacks. And
Yeah, and how'd you get that?
my freshman year was when I was at Paducah Tillman High School. My freshman year football camp, I ate all my snacks and food that's supposed to last me a week the first night before we even got to camp, while we were still in the field house. And my wide receiver coach, Coach McDermott, he kept calling me Snacks, and everybody just started calling me Snacks.
So it stuck.
And I mean, yeah, it stuck all the way through high school, college, everywhere. Yeah.
So you graduated from Tillman and
Yes.
went to college at Bethel down in McKenzie, Tennessee.
Yes.
Majored in,
Sociology and art.
but started out to major in English.
Yeah, because I mean, I love words and writing, but I guess I'm glad I did start out in English, and I mean, I still haven't stopped studying English, I mean, to this day. But doing sociology and art, well, the sociology part first is that's the study of how people work in society and things. It was paramount to progression as a poet. I mean, believe it or not, because it was.
No, I can.
I mean, that's
Sure,
poetry
sure,
is. It's just
sure.
looking at things from different perspectives. I mean, that's sociology. They kind of went.
We talked before the program about how you memorize these poems, and it struck me, I've taught history here for many years, it's like the bards in ancient Greece, the wandering bards who recited these long epic poems, sometimes to music, lots of times to music. But you think about the Iliad and the Odyssey, how could you possibly memorize these things? Well, people did. So what's the secret to memorizing the poem that you just did? It lasted obviously several minutes. You didn't miss a beat. And so how are you able to memorize that?
I told my friend when I was in college, he asked me this question. He's like, man, somebody gets long. He's like, hey, he was telling me how he memorized his. And I was like, oh, just don't write it down. I mean, that was the first part. And he was like, what? And that's what you were saying about the, the ancient bars. I mean,
Right.
they didn't have it written down. But when I'm even constructing it as creation in my head, biggest part, I was calling it connected words a long time ago, but just different poetic devices at certain points to segmentize it, because it seems to me it's a lot smaller, because I'm going from section to section, even if there's 2 sections or 5 that connect all together and they're all the same part of the poem. I mean, I still see it as just sections, because I have maybe a rhyming word connecting each section, and I like work on that certain part in my head up into that certain point for a long time, and then I'll even start at the end of the section that was cemented in my mind now, and I go from like part of the end of the first section and go to the second section, and then they're interwoven because that part's cemented, and I start right here, and now I got that other part, and then it just sinks together. I mean,
have you written any of them down?
Finally. My dad, he was gonna. Or if I didn't, for a long time, I had gobs and gobs of just poems in my head that haven't been written down, but I finally got them all down. I want to get a book out because a lot of people want to read it.
It would be really interesting, and again, my wife has taught English at Mayfield High School, Tillman's rival, for many, many years, 34 years. And, you know, they will read the plays of Shakespeare, and students find this very tedious and very boring. Well, Shakespeare didn't write those plays to be read, they're to be acted out. You could read a movie script and it wouldn't be the same. And that's sort of maybe the way your poetry sort of strikes me. It would be so different if you read it in a book than the way you did it.
That's, oh man, so very true. That is, you would miss out on a lot of the nuances if you didn't get to see the performance, or at least get to hear it. Right. I mean, that's one thing is I do a recording out, because I mean that would be more beneficial, I think, than even a book. But some people just want to be able to see the words. And read them. Right. But you're right. A lot would be missing.
So, continuing through the poem, you mentioned your family members. Are they your inspirations? Oh,
yes, definitely. At this point, the more laughs around the sun I make, the more I realize. So, especially my father, some of the things he's given me in wisdom and just love, and my grandmother the same way.
Right.
My entire family. The older I get, I realize there's a reason why I didn't like them, because they knew it was best for me.
Well, you know, that's a funny thing. I think as all of us age, we realize that our parents are actually wiser than we thought they were, our grandparents. Oh, yeah. But that comes with age. But when you're a kid, our son's 20 years old, and he's beginning to kind of realize that. But you know, for a while, it's a learning experience. So how long did it take you to come up with that poem that you read, or spoke rather?
That one, it was almost 2 weeks. It's almost 2 weeks.
And so when you're putting it together, if you put something on paper, you obviously write a while, and you come back and write a while. Yeah. So with this, do you go over in your head and recite it for a while, then go back to it? How do you do that? Oh man, I go for, the best way I do it is going for walks. I even try to do it I can now because I've been doing it for so long, but it's a lot more progress when I'm moving and when I'm outside walking, and I just keep working. Any particular place you like to walk and compose poems? Man, I gotta have trees. Really, that's the main thing. Just not too many people. I prefer just no people out. When I was in college, I used to walk off into the woods. I mean, I would just get lost. Just get lost, basically. Mm-hmm. And well, of course, I guess that's a good thing if somebody saw you talking to yourself. You know? That's true. that's happening. I mean, I live off Pecan over here, and I'll walk, and people honk, and they're like, "I saw you. What were you doing?" And I was like, "Oh." Talking to yourself. Yeah. Right. Do another one, and maybe just come up with a different poem. We'll talk about that one too. Any of them, your choice. All right. Over the years, I've been performed with for a lot of different organizations, and I performed for an organization, Murray State's Women's Center, and develop a heavy passion with survivors of abuse and different things like that. And I have a lot of poems about that, so I would definitely, when I get the chance, I always love to share one about that. Please do. All right. The name of this one's called 1201. 1201. So, they've got me dreaming of a lighthouse, cemented by innocent prayers, propelled from the lips of a gypsy kiss, cursing concrete thoughts that think they know us best. They don't. Can we truly know bliss if we never been broken? Broken like luckless limbs on a rootless tree, ravished by ruthless winds. Have you ever wanted your life to end? Is a question that hangs thick heavy, like the news of your parents passing, stone stirred within the stew of sour syrup, midnight darkness on a moonless night, consumed by strife, be moved by life. Even if you feel like you could die twice, from the rape, from the touch, from the fist, from the words that ripped in your soul last night, reconsider. This is a rebirth. This
is a resurrection. When yesterday's horrors trapped your thoughts like a tomb. This is the other side of gloom, brighter than noon. This is new beginnings beckoning to bloom, like forgotten flowers frosted by February's breath. This is the forgiveness machine. This is the next step. This is new friends you've met, and their fingers filled with compassion, reaching, pushing you along when you have nothing left. This is secrets you kept but never could keep from God. This is God's breath, revitalizing the treble clef next to your heart sheet music. This is a song for the broken, a song for the coping, a song for the hope, and a song for the many oceans of tomorrow's tears, reflecting the past like an emptied hour glass. It is your time. Check the time. It is 12:01. The other side of darkness has already come. Despite anxieties, tambourine tendencies, shaking your bones like a California fault line, sucking on syringes full of Red Bull through your darkness, I see light like your moon is full. Through the halls of your eyes, I see heaven's glow, dancing deliverance covered in the color of redemption. There is no need to cover up the constellations captured within your irises. This is where violence gives its final salute. The hatred is moot, and shame doesn't even deserve access to your booth to vote or buy for your attention. This is where ears always listen. This is what we've all been missing. You want to see hope? Yeah, you want to see hope? You were life after Chernobyl. An ocean on Mercury, air, and space. You want to see hope? Go find a photo of your face. Through your storm, your life is a lighthouse, a beacon, begging the rest of us to hold on for just a little bit longer while our knuckles are bleeding because the darkness is receding like the moon was too heavy for the night to hold. This is for the fires fueling your soul, the burdens burning beneath your heart's charcoal will manifest manifolds of diamonds gleaming like tomorrow's promises. This is no doubts. It's easy to be faithless if your life is unfamiliar with dark spaces. This is for the forgotten faces never found, the uncrowned queens and queens ripped from their dreams as if they had no worth. This is a moment of silence for those that hurt, a moment of silence for the death of silence within our throats when we hear a rape joke. This is an insurrection against the media-induced societal structural acceptance of violence against women that the world promotes. This is a new hope without the lone Jedi. This is living when the world said die. This is telling the truth within your testimony when the world said lie. Check the time. It is 12:01. The other side of darkness has already come. Even if your arduous journey to forgiveness and healing has just begun, take the first step forward and you've already won. Thanks, fellas.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
So, how did you, obviously hope, the poem symbolizes
yeah.
hope, but how did you take a theme like hope and turn it into a slam poem like that?
Oh, man. The biggest thing is, I guess, a professional poet, he told, I get to perform with a lot of people, and he told me something a long time ago, and I paid attention to it, and he's like, well, that's what he told me to do. He told me to pay attention to everything. You know, poetry is all around us, and definitely just people's stories. Definitely, because I have family members that have been in situations like that, and you don't know when you're younger, but when you look back or you even look at their life right now and how they persevered. I mean that's the poem right there. I just put it in the word when I just meditated on thoughts. And I've heard so many people's stories working with the Murray State Women's Center and just watching people and listening to them.
How old were you when you wrote your first poem?
Ooh, I was 12. Yeah, I was 12. 7th grade, beginning of 7th grade. I was 12.
Did you, obviously you've studied poetry, obviously.
Oh, yes.
Do you have a favorite poet?
Yes, I do. Oh gosh, Andrea Gibson. She's a slam poet, professional slam poet, and she's one of my favorite. I can just watch all day. She inspires me, and I guess she writes about that, the last subject matter. She writes poems about just about everything, self-reflection, but she keeps me honest and humble, and humble is necessary for growth. So that's why I love watching her. She's amazing.
You're also on the staff at Oscar Cross
Yes.
Boys and Girls Club. Do you perform for the kids there?
Oh yes.
And how do they react to this?
They oh man, the older ones, they always act like they're like, especially they heard it a lot. They're like, oh, we want to hear it. Then I start the little kids. They always want to hear it. They're like, do Step Across the Line, or a certain poem, and then I start doing it. And the older kids are like, be quiet, and they'll listen. And then after, I'm like, I thought y'all didn't want to hear it. They're like, oh, we didn't. Nice poem though. You know, older kids are cool.
Well, you certainly brought the house down here. We had a poetry reading recently, and you were the only poet who got a standing ovation. It's amazing. It's the energy, the vitality of it is incredible, and I'd never heard anything like it. And I was tremendously impressed with it. Just the enthusiasm and the fire in it is just—it's incredible.
Oh,
it's
what I love doing.
And poets, obviously, you write from the heart. Anyone writes
Yes.
from the heart. But so, what do you want to do with this? I mean, you want to take it a step further, write a book,
Yes.
be on television, or some.
Hey.
Well, you are right. Well, I mean, more than cable TV.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about being an entertainer. I mean.
Oh yes. I've taken. Well, man, time goes by fast. I've started this year of taking the steps to actually do it professionally and full time.
Well, you mentioned New York. Is that where most slam poets are, in New York?
That's where, I guess, that's the birthplace of it. So a lot of them are there. But I mean, it's all over the nation.
So how did it start?
Now.
Would they like street corner poets? I mean, how did it start? Or in parks, just public? They would just recite?
No, they had poetry slams and.
Like in clubs.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, and that's how it got started. And then, I mean, it's all over. It's all.
Have
over
you
the
been to
nation
New
now.
York and seen them do it?
Nah, I haven't got to see him do it in New York. I mean, I've gotten.
So how did you hear about it?
That's the craziest part. When I started writing, no, it was in high school. I was writing poetry and performing it. I was just having fun. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know his name for it. I didn't know people were doing it. And one of my advisors for the NAACP read, and then she was like, oh, and then she heard me, and she was like,
That's
have
what
you
you're
heard
doing.
of, yeah, and then I looked up poets on Def Poetry Jam was a show that came on HBO.
Right.
And on YouTube, and I was like, oh man, and I started like really incorporating some of the things I can do with it and having fun. And then after that, I started competing for this. It's called AXO. It's off of NAACP. It's Afro Cultural Technological Science Olympics. And yeah, I went all the way, won the local level, won state, and went to nationals twice doing poetry, oratory, speaking, and dramatics. And that's how.
That's a good term for poetry oratory.
Yeah.
That's really what this is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a shy person do this, can you? I mean,
Man, it's crazy. I even write about it. What is it? The Candles Blue Breath. Because I'm working on a book right now, and I'm talking about how I was one of the shyest people in the family, and I know my family still looks and they're like, well, didn't see that.
Well, you know,
coming.
when I first saw you, you impressed me as kind of a quiet person, very soft-spoken, and then all of a sudden, bam! Here this thing comes out of you. I thought, wow, that's great. And of course, it seems to me what you're doing is sort of a cross between poetry and acting. I mean,
Oh
you
yes,
know,
definitely.
and that's an interesting combination. But as I said, I thought, wow. I mean, you were sitting on the front row, and I thought you got up and then hear this. I thought, wow. And of course, obviously, the audience. Is that the reaction people have? Because as I said, you impressed me as like sort of a soft-spoken person. Does this amaze people? Like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even when I go out of town where people are familiar with slam poetry, I was like, Paducah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have fun. I mean, I guess it's an opportunity for me to let my voice be heard, and I just have fun with it. I'm comfortable when I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And
Well, obviously, yeah. We have 3 minutes left. Can you do a 2-minute one?
Oh yeah, I can do a 2-minute.
Okay, because he's going to be giving me the time signal, but yeah, give us a 2-minute-ish one.
Okay, okay. God bless you. Whoever you are, yeah, you. God bless your eyes, the memories they hold, and the stories they've told. God bless the innocence you never sold and the moral compensation to God we all owe. God bless the skeletons within your closets you chose to expose and the all-access attractive doorways to hell only God could close. God bless the leaves and the oxygen they leave for our lungs to retrieve. God bless the God within your veins, whether or not you believe. God bless the arrival of spring and the joy that brings. God bless the trees and the beauty they give birth to. God bless the rootless mountains clinging to the cliffs of this earth. God bless the rooted mountains holding our families together like soundless flocks, always on time like God's wristwatch. God bless the haves and the have-nots. God bless my pops praying peace pierces his past and his plans. God bless the stubborn struggler that won't understand that failure is a viable option. God bless adoption, both formal and informal. God bless her, yes, the little girl with AIDS that just wants to be normal. God bless her. The little girl living with AIDS, age 7, Abigail, that wants to be a pediatrician that just wants to be normal. Our crosses, dream wings. When we hear the songs of sorrow our brothers and sisters sing, please sing and don't mute so much and allow your silence to knuckle punch your confidence into a pulp, praying for listeners to listen to the words you never levy broke from your lips. God bless the lips of your soul. Speak the language of God, truth with an accent of love. God bless your broken piece glass past, shimmering supernova like kaleidoscopes of hope, holding miracles, cradling faith. God bless the nails on the cross and deliverance for the lost, searching for satisfaction at the bottoms of bottles, lip-locking lies never worth it. God bless the mistakes that made you perfect. God bless the good news and the first time you've heard it. God bless you.
That's terrific. Do you have a contact number if anyone to talk to you? Do you perform, do shows?
I finally got, oh yeah, I do. I perform, got shows, and I finally got my website.
Oh, a website. Give us that. We have about 30 seconds left.
Last night.
What's your website?
SamuelHawkins.com.
SamuelHawkins.com. That's pretty easy.
Has all information.
And a phone number?
Oh yeah, 270-853-0241. And that's on website as well. And my email, both emails. And information and everything I do.
Then they could also call the Oscar Cross Boys and Girls Club, which is how I found it.
Yeah,
that's great. So, well, thank you for coming. You'll have to come back again sometime. That was a lot of fun.
Man,
Enjoyed it. It went right by. 30 minutes. It's all over with. So yeah,
gosh, it doesn't seem like it.
Appreciate it. My guest today was Samuel Hawkins, slam poet. I'm Barry Craig. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.